Hey, everybody, welcome to Bonus Stuff. We just got done reviewing the first 3 episodes of Rings of Power. It didn't make Michael too happy. So hopefully, this next show we checked out made Michael a little happier.
Oh, crap.
And that was. Did you not watch it?
Nope.
Okay. Jerry, did you watch it?
Watch what?
No.
What did we-
Michael, it's
what-
all you.
All me? I'm the only one?
I watched the first episode.
Okay.
How much episodes did you watch?
I watched all of it.
Okay, what's it called? Terminator
Zero.
Year Zero or something like that? Zero.
One in,
Was
one
this
ear,
on-
and out the
was
other.
was this on Netflix?
Yeah,
I don't have Netflix.
I don't either, but I watched it. So, Terminator
Did you
Zero.
pirate? Well, hold on. How did you watch it?
I
Don't go
have
into that
my
Neighbor's
ways.
window. He's the little ghostly children in the windows. From
He's like, turn it up, I
Alienville
can't hear.
And then they started
Captions.
shooting at me with shotguns, so I left.
for 4
I think you were.
hours.
I think you were an owl.
That's why I can only watch one episode. All right, Terminator Zero. So, Michael, I only watched one episode, so I'll let you take it away and tell us what you thought. You watched the whole series? Is the
I
whole
did.
series
There's
out?
only 8 episodes.
Oh, okay, so
We have a
What'd
long,
you
long
think?
weekend. I have nothing to do. Overall thoughts, I thought the story is actually very cool. I'm not the biggest Terminator person. I don't know if I've ever seen it. I've seen any of the movies in full. I know I've seen bits of them and clips of them and stuff, but I don't know if I've ever seen any of them fully. Except for like the newer. For some reason, I've seen all of them from Salvation on. So all the bad
That's not
ones
the
and no one
worst.
likes.
why do you watch the bad ones?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
It's just-
only seen Salvation, I think, and I like that one.
I like
with,
Salvation.
Christian Bale.
Okay, Salvation is decent. Like,
The ones after that
Yeah.
are not.
I don't mind it. People hate it, but I kind of liked it.
I like Salvation. The arts are like the
style?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying to think of how you would describe that.
Yes, the aesthetics
direction
of
is
everything, yeah,
very, very
everything looks
cool.
cool.
The bikes are so cool. But,
Oh yeah.
So that's my like history with Terminator. So I don't know a lot about what all happens, but it's basically like they do one difficult thing with me that I have trouble with. I want something that does time well. So I don't like in stories multiverses. I don't like different timelines because it's like the main character, or she appears to be the main character as you start off, but it's like it kind of brings a whole different cast when she goes back. But she goes back in time from a world where Terminators just destroyed everything, and she's like, I gotta go do the thing to make the thing, so they don't do the thing.
That's pretty much Terminator.
Yeah,
But
it's very.
but
You
it's
have to watch Primer if you want a good time thing.
But they play a lot with the thing of like, oh, but you're not really gonna go fix your timeline. You're just gonna go help another one. And I'm like, I just don't care about that. That immediately my interest goes like I don't care about any of that, which doesn't really affect it too much because my biggest con with the show is none of the characters are interesting. I really don't feel for any of the characters. The main one is the chick that goes back in time. Yes, Thomas.
What are their names?
I don't.
I don't.
Dr. Nicholas M something. He's basically
Lee something Lee, right?
it's like Micah Lee or Mika Lee or
yeah,
Michelob Ultra. I don't know. But basically,
Stophiles.
so basically, the main character is going back in time to stop him from creating an AI that is supposed to combat Skynet, but ends up just becoming one with Skynet. And they in her timeline destroyed the world basically.
So Skynet, weirdly enough, was supposed to come online on the 29th of this year.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Never did.
Dang.
So hey, we're still here. Cool.
That we know of. That we know.
Joseph.
There's actually a company called Skynet.
We need to probably nuke them. Then.
I don't remember what country it's from. There's just Skynet out there.
People always think it's funny until it actually happens. So.
Dude, scientists can't wait for that to happen. They're like
I
thrilled to death
know.
about it.
They
Give
love
it to us, yeah. Yeah, so basically the whole story is overarching of this dad, his 3 kids, he leaves them in the beginning. He's the scientist guy that goes and works with, I forget what the AI is called that he's created.
Oh, Coca something?
Kokora or something like that? I can't
Something
remember.
like that, yeah.
And so
La cucaracha?
so his kids go out and he has a nanny nurse lady that's supposed to go find her kids in this thing, but then the chick from the future comes back, but then the Terminator from her world came back with her, and so he's hunting for the doctor, she's hunting for the doctor, but for different reasons. The doctor's trying to get this thing online because he's had these visions that, hey, the world's gonna go nuclear at this certain time, and I have to have this AI ready to be able to stop everything, to stop Skynet, blah, blah, blah. So the whole thing is kind of a chase around the city, and a ticking time bomb, really. But like I said, the characters, the kids were they weren't bad, but like the doctor was interesting. There are several twists and turns that I felt like were pretty. I mean, if you didn't see it beforehand, you saw it as it was coming up to it, so there wasn't any like whoa kind of moment or surprise. Okay, I take that back. There was one at the very end that got me. That I was like, I didn't see that coming. I saw the connection, didn't expect what it came to be. But the characters apart from that were kind of bland. There weren't anything really interesting. There wasn't any like growth or anything. It was just it was more about telling the secrets of the story rather than telling a character story. But that said, I do actually really like the story it told. I liked the idea of dealing with the Kokoro AI. I think that's what it's called. It was kind of weird because Skynet was kind of in the background because it's just like, hey, Skynet's going to come on. It's over there. We don't know anything about it. And this guy's just trying to create this defensive AI. So I guess, I don't want to spoil anything in case you guys should watch it. It's really short. It's only 8 episodes. The pacing of it's pretty good most of the time. There are a few action sequences that are like strangely unproduced is the way I would say it. Like there's not a lot of sound effects. Like it's almost like you were talking about in Rings of Power where he's getting whipped, but there's not a lot of noise to it. Someone's getting hit.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm not feeling the impact of this at all. And it's just kind of awkward and silent. Yeah, Jared.
I'm sorry. Was this a live action show or
No,
is this
it's an anime.
It's an anime.
It's the
Oh,
people, I should have started with this. It's the people that did Castlevania, like the Netflix
Oh
team.
yeah,
is
you
doing
did
that.
say.
The
so-
IG.
Yeah, and so it looks very, very cool. There's a little bit of 3D, but the 3D is not terrible, except for like whenever you see cars and they're in 3D, that just always look the same in anime. But there's a points where the 3D's there, they do it well. I think most of it is in like 2D drawn animation,
Mhm.
but it's a good looking show. The overarching story is very, very cool. The action's mostly good. I won't say fully good, but mostly good. But the characters are just like, I don't care about any of you. So
Yeah.
that's the only drawback. But it was cool. I enjoyed it.
So all I can say is the first episode. I enjoyed the first scene. It's very Terminator
Mhm.
scene. I don't like the art direction or the art style. It just seems like that generic one that Netflix always
Yeah.
uses. And then I did like the little scenes in I guess it's the past because it's like what 1997 or something like that in the past or something
Yeah.
like. And there's like robots or androids, and like one's trying to find a dog, and like causes a car wreck, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then what was that? The only part I liked of the visuals was when he's like talking to that one AI that he's building, and it like showed like the world explode, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was kind of cool. Yeah, I don't think I'll watch anymore, but if it's only 8 episodes, maybe I will. Yeah, it just seemed pretty standard Terminator to me.
Yeah.
Like
It's not something to run out and watch, but I think it's better than the most recent movies we've had for sure.
I
Put that
did
way.
like when the Terminator music came on because there's a part where they're like building a Terminator and it's like dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
They do a cool thing later on where the Terminator kind of, we'll say, gets an upgrade. Not really an upgrade, but it visually it's super anime and it looks really good, really dope. He has like the torn cloak and everything, and he's running around with this weird junk. I was like,
Torn
it
clothes,
looks,
dude.
that's what I was like. They just wanted an excuse for the torn cloak. That's why they did what they did with him. But I was like, he looks super dope.
All right.
And I'm also always a sucker for scenes whenever androids mimic real life human beings. So like the kids are all trying to find each other, and he starts mimicking the siblings' voices, and they're all freaking out because I've always been a sucker for that. I'm like, that's so creepy and cool. But yeah, it's fun.
All right. It's fun. It's
Fun.
better than Rings of Power.
100%.
100%.
No, that's not trying very hard.
That's not saying much, but hey, it's doing all right on Rotten Tomatoes.
That is one thing I do need to say is Rotten Tomatoes is just off their bonkers because they're putting like 8. It was at 100% for a while. Now it's at 96. It's like a 75 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm
like,
sorry,
it's good, but it's not great.
I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
They've
I'm
gone
sorry.
off the rails, man. It's bananas.
Well, I actually have a Rotten Tomatoes little tidbit in the news. So they're actually thinking of getting rid of the audience score because
So
The
make it
audience-
useless.
if you
Yeah.
notice, the audience score is always lower than the critic score. So
Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because they're not paid to like it.
And most
not like it?
people who visit Rotten Tomatoes actually just look at the audience score and don't really care about the critic score. So, yeah, like Michael said, pretty useless after that if they really do that. So, news. So, I was out sick. I had the COVID.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, and I also had jury duty, and they
Oh,
wouldn't let me out of it.
What?
So,
What the hell?
so I had to go while I was sick, and it was terrible. But so that's what I was dealing with. That's why we were gone for a week. So some of this news might be a little old, but so I have that Secret Level movie, I guess it is from Amazon.
Anthology.
It's an anthology movie, and it's got all our favorite video game. It's even got Pac-Man in there. So, what did you guys? I don't. Did you watch the trailer? And if you did you see anything you're hyped about?
I'm super hyped about this. This is the guy that he does the Love, Death, and Robots animations on Netflix, I believe. And so it's going to be like just like a bunch of episodes of stories of game characters. I'm like, that's awesome. That's super. It's a great way to do that without having to like commit to a full fledged story of
Yeah.
Tomb Raider or Mega. They're doing Mega Man, which Mega Man he gets his little helmet. It's
yeah.
like, you're like, God, that looks dope. There's a lot of weird ones there, like you said. Pac-Man was there, Spelunky's in there. It's like, what do you have with these? I don't know. So it's a fun way to have a creative freedom with a small scale of a project. I think
I didn't see the trailer, but Michael talked about it, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we'll have to check that one out when it comes out. Do you know when it comes out?
I want to say December 9th or 8th, somewhere in early December.
Oh, around another little video game movie.
Little
Sonic?
Christmas present.
Maybe I'm
Christmas
conflating
present.
it with Sonic. Hold on, let me look.
Maybe. Sonic, we should talk about Sonic. Sonic the
How do you not have Sonic on the docket?
for episode
Good Lord.
Sonic 3, the trailer came out. Jared, what did you think?
I can't freaking wait. I want it to be December now. I want to go see it with everyone. And I can't wait for Shadow, Keanu Reeves' Shadow.
He does
And
look
then
great.
Jim Carrey's back doing Gerald and Robotnik. I'm like, there. And then there's even a little Maria in there, and you're like, oh, she's gonna get
Oh yeah.
space AIDS, and that's what happens,
Not a part
Thomas.
of my Sonic lore.
Learn the lore, and then
That wasn't on my bingo card for things said on this
So-
podcast, but okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. I hope Metal shows up at the end because they need something to fight against, and I'm hoping Shadow and Sonic team up and fight Metal. That'll be so freaking cool.
Do you hope that Shadow has guns?
I don't care. No,
He's got a bike.
he's got that chaos control right now, Thomas. He's too powerful. He's the ultimate life form.
So I hate Shadow. It's the worst. It's like Venom for me. I don't like Venom.
love Venom.
I don't like Shadow. But Keanu Reeves, man, perfect casting for Shadow. It just makes sense. So yeah, and then it was cool that Robotnik's playing his own grandpa.
Although I feel like Sonic 1, I feel like was the good amount of Jim Carrey. Sonic 2, too much of the Jim Carrey being crazy. I'm like, this isn't a Jim Carrey movie; it's a Sonic movie. Chill out a little bit. So hopefully in the third one they can balance it back out. Even though there's two of them now, so I don't know how it's going to happen.
He loves being Robotnik.
And I like it as
He-
Robotnik, but just
Held off retiring just because he loved playing Robotnik.
I just don't want
I'm
so much
usually
of the, like,
annoyed.
yeah, like the Ace Ventura-isms of it.
Yeah, I hate like early Jim Carrey, like Ace Ventura and like The Mask and stuff like that. But him as Robotnik was just meant to be.
How dare you insult the Mask? Mask is a
I was
great
about to
movie.
say, I love the mask.
Just like Cameron Diaz.
I like the.
Well, yes.
God. I had
You have to be
forgotten-
like blind. Like, I'm sorry, but yes.
I had forgotten what that did to me as a child until I rewatched that movie. I rewatched it like a year ago, and I was like,
I'm
"Oh, I understand now."
It's like when you first see Catherine Zeta-Jones in Zorro, you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh man,
All right, I know Jared's lying because he's not going to wait for me to go see this movie when it
Oh,
comes
no.
out. He's
Oh
gonna
no,
go
I
watch-
didn't say that. I just said I want to see it with everyone available.
Dude, when we went to go see it, like the first one, he was insufferable for like a week. Like he's like, I'm gonna go.
It's like Thomas every day.
whoa,
Yes.
Oh. All right. So we remember that story about the husband suing Disney
Well,
because his wife
Yeah.
died of allergies. Disney, they are going to allow that lawsuit to go or to continue. So that's good for the husband. He's not even asking that much.
I'm about to say he's not even asking for a lot.
What else we got? We have The Crow came out while I was sick, and it only made $4 million. That's it.
Oh my!
That's really bad.
It's
Yeah,
really bad.
How much was the budget?
More than that. I don't think it was a lot, but it wasn't.
it didn't seem like it was a. It didn't seem like it was a very high value movie. So
It's weird because I feel like I saw way more trailers for it back in spring, and then whenever it
Mhm.
came to the movie, I was
Yeah.
like, I
Like
didn't
nothing.
realize it was coming out this week or that
I
week.
didn't even get a trailer like inside the movie theater for this thing.
Yeah. There was like a
Weird.
couple movies. That was like what's it called? That video game that came out.
Black
Gearbox.
Myth?
What's it called?
Oh,
Oh,
Borderlands.
Borderlands. When I didn't see
Mm.
any trailers in the movies.
Oh, for the movie, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I think they knew that was going to be terrible, so there's like
Yeah,
not worth
50
it.
million.
50 for
That
Crow.
was, that was the budget.
that's not horrible.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
like a lot.
they might make
It's,
it back in like streaming and overseas then.
That's
So
what I hope.
I hope.
I
What were they saying? What movie did good with China? What was it? What were movies that came out?
Twisters.
No, it
Did
wasn't
it do good?
Twisters.
Oh.
It was something
Sisters
else.
did good just in general.
It did good in America. It didn't do good overseas.
really?
It's a very American
They
movie.
don't really
tornadoes
have
over there?
tornadoes. Yeah, they don't really have tornadoes everywhere else.
Okay,
Well-
I listened to our podcast about that again this week, and we really go after Oklahoma
We-
for like maybe 25 minutes. And I the reason I bring that up is I wanted Michael's like okay, Michael, me, Jared, and Joseph pretty much despise Oklahoma. Do you, or are you okay with it?
Oklahoma's like Midland to me. Like I just don't want to go there and I don't think about it, but I don't know much about it. Like I've never like gone to explore Midland or Oklahoma. I go there for a reason and then I leave. So I don't have
you
any.
drive through it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
to go to somewhere
there.
else.
I know I've been to Oklahoma, but I couldn't tell you what I did in Oklahoma. It happened once or twice or however many times. Yeah,
Oklahoma.
I have no.
We're sorry,
knowledge.
Oklahoma. We're sorry.
I'm talking. We like
This is our
thing.
public apology. Or their public. I wasn't a part of
Yeah.
the Oklahoma bashing. Their public apology.
No, I'm not apologizing for crap. I'm just saying we do that.
Just want to acknowledge that we're being rude to you.
Well, I'm sorry. As I said in that podcast, I'm a Texan. I don't care.
All right. It's one of I can't figure out which one because there was like multiple, but one of the Tomb Raider projects was canceled. The one, and I think there's two that are like had Phoebe Waller-Bridge attached to them, so I
Yeah,
can't figure out which one it is.
I think that one did because the writing was not coming together. From what I
don't
understand.
know if that was an animated movie or like a regular movie, so I really don't know. But one of them got canceled.
Or Tomb Raider. I
let's-
feel like that franchise has been. It's not as big as the big ones, but it's just been misheld as big as. Like,
It seems
Star
like it
Wars.
would be really easy to do, but no one does it
No
right.
one can crack it.
There's a rumor that there's going to be an all-female Fight Club remake, so look for that.
That seems
Interesting.
kind of stupid considering that's a very male-centric
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Well, they're going to retool it for the women.
It's
I
like
guess.
I don't.
I will watch it just
No.
to see how they try to do that.
Who would you get
It's
as a
gotta
pairing
be-
to play?
It's got to be like
Michelle.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, she'd be good.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Who would play Meatloaf's counterpart though?
It's got to be what's her name from
You can't even call him that. Like his name in Fight Club.
what is that? She was on Star Wars for a little bit in The Mandalorian.
The
She's
wrestler?
like from MMA.
Or, yeah,
Uh,
Gina
Gina Carano. You gotta get her in there. You would think.
Well, she would just kill everybody.
True. Okay. Some of the newest news is Twitter/X, whatever you call it. I know a lot of people still call it Twitter.
It's Twitter.
But
X is a
it's
terrible name.
X is a terrible name, very generic. But it got banned in Brazil
Oh.
because they wouldn't kind of run propaganda for the person that's in charge of Brazil, so they banned it. There.
Oh no, compelled speech. Who would have seen that coming?
All right. And then one of the big controversies when we were out was, of course, the Acolyte got canceled, and people who liked the Acolyte went berserk, man. They were like, how dare you cancel this show? We love it. The main character, I forget her name, Amandla. I forget her last
Steinberg?
name. No.
Huh.
But she played the main character. She like went on this video. It's one of the worst videos I've ever seen because she's like talking like a baby the whole time. And she's like, well, we were, there's ultra conservatives that came after us, and that's why we got canceled because of all the racism and stuff like that. It's one of the worst videos I have ever seen.
I was
you
right about the
ever-
last name. You scoff.
What was it?
You scoff.
Steinberg?
Steinberg. I thought you said Lambert.
I
I'm
heard
sorry.
No.
Flagera.
So that's why we laughed. We didn't know what you were
I
saying.
heard something with an F.
I'm concerned for Michael. I mean,
The Rings of Power really messed with me, guys. Okay, I won't be okay for a while.
Oh,
So-
speaking of Rings of Power, we have at least 5 seasons, Joseph.
Please cancel this. Blame whoever you want. Just cancel this. I don't care.
Ultra conservatives, use your power.
Blame puppies and kittens. I don't care.
Be the bad guy that they say you are. Help us.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but I don't really. I had to talk with my cousin about this, and because she's a huge fan of like anything Star Wars, Disney Star Wars related.
Oh.
And I'm like, why?
Oh.
I didn't mean to say that. It just came out.
No. That was my reaction too. And she's like, but you don't understand. The Acolyte was bringing fans in. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
No,
It really
you don't
wasn't.
cancel a show that does well.
Yeah.
I
and-
don't get that logic because I see this all the time with Mac shows and stuff, and they're like, fan favorite show canceled. They're like confused. It's like if people don't watch a show, they cancel the show. They
Dude,
don't.
when they started touching lore, like old lore, then
Oh,
you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
they messed up.
And I laid out like why I didn't like it, the writing, just that there was a stupid story in general. And then honestly, it's like I was like, my biggest thing about it is that the showrunner, I'm sorry, was freaking Harvey Weinstein's assistant for like 15 years. I'm sorry. But and she like is very, very like, I don't want to watch any movie that was produced by Harvey Weinstein, like none of Tarantino's movies. I'm like, that this woman was probably very involved
Yeah,
in everything that was going on with
she's
him.
not innocent.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
And
oh, good.
she made like money off a play that she wrote about that whole incident that
Yeah.
happened. So,
And so I'm just, the whole thing was like a icky, like just nothing. I didn't
Just-
want to be like involved with it. Like, ugh.
Just the Star Wars like point of view, like they messed up so much that like really made me mad. Like I was kind of I didn't really have any like negative emotions going into it. I was like, oh, this might be good. But then like just they messed everything up, and then they're like, oh, this is gonna be the coolest lightsaber battle since Darth Maul, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay, let's see what it is, and you're like laughing, and it's like terrible.
Pretty bad. Well, and she's talking about like, who's the guy that plays the stranger? The
I don't know.
Dark Lord guy. That guy, the guy from The Good Place.
Yeah.
Everybody's like thirst trapping over this guy. I'm just like, that's not a reason to really continue the show. Like, it's just not. I'm sorry, but
That's the thing now. That's the thing. Instead of writing, is we get shipping,
shipping, yeah,
because that's what's happening with Lord of the Rings right now. It's
Pretty
everyone
much,
wants
yeah.
To see Sauron and what's her name hook up, and that's all they care about.
Oh, that married woman?
Yes,
Impossible.
the married elf woman.
And yeah, it's just it's so bad.
So good old George R. Martin. He was tweeting about Zozobra, which is a thing that happens in New Mexico. It's pretty much New Mexico Burning Man. Um, and he was like, I have to write a post about how House of the Dragon went wrong in this second season. So that's all he said. He didn't say what he thought yet, but I guess that post is coming at some time.
Why don't you finish a book
I'm
and
about
then
to
you
say,
can post?
it's coming before the next book, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it will take forever, like the book. But
On the other hand, we have Brandon Sanderson coming out with the next Way of Kings
Dang.
book, the 5th book. It's
Guy's
like,
psychotic, man.
dude,
those
that,
books are huge.
that dude's like Mahler. I don't think he sleeps. I think he just writes, and then he teaches
Yeah.
classes too. Like what?
We're gonna have to, I don't know, make a video about what was happening because I can't remember for the life of me what was happening with the girl in that book. But
Shalon?
yeah, what was she
I need to
doing?
finish. I need to finish the 4th one. I haven't
Oh, you
finished
haven't
it yet.
finished it?
Mm-mm.
I can't remember, man. Her stories are always so boring. But
Yeah, well, the 3rd one was probably my least favorite, honestly. So
yeah,
2nd one was great. Oh my god,
yeah.
I finished the first one. I'm not dipping back in, guys. I'm
Really?
sorry.
it's a lot.
That's how
No,
Alex is.
no. I completely understand. Like it is a lot. I didn't expect it to be that much because like my cousin not a different cousin. Sorry, gave me the book. I was like, oh, I'll try it out. And after the first one, I was like, and that's just the first one.
I liked a lot of stuff in it. I was just like, there's actually like berserk like inspiration in there that I noticed, but I was like,
It's a cool world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 10 books of those. I'm like,
Yeah, 10 books, man.
how?
oh my god, Michael, catch up.
This guy's got to. I don't really plan on listening to any of that, but he's got to be like taking like pills for creativity or something. Like, how do you plan
No,
out?
I may
10
catch up on writing.
Oh.
Got to write like 50 books.
He's
Good
like the
Lord.
Stephen King of fantasy.
Yeah, but most of his books I've seen have actually good endings. So
All right. So the big storyline this week,
Big.
yeah, the big one was the tale of game releases. So we had a couple of them, and let's talk about this. So the good game that everyone kind of agreed on was the Wukong Black Myth.
like Miss Sung Wukong.
Yeah, so that game came out and it was a big hit, which made some people sad because we said that a game from Chinese developers about Chinese myth was somehow not diverse enough for some people. So they were mad that it did so successful. But a lot of people like it. A lot of people are streaming it. And Michael, you've played a little bit, right?
I've beaten a few bosses now. Yeah,
And you like it?
it is. It's an interesting.
You enjoy that?
You enjoy that? It's.
You like it?
Is it Monkey Souls?
It's not Monkey Souls, no. There's a strange balance to it. I was telling Thomas whenever he came over a little early for Rings of Power and I was playing it. It's like all of the small enemies are like cannon fodder. Like you just bop them with your stick and you move on. And then you hit the bosses and it's like this is like the difficulty's ramped up like crazy. It's really fun. But I don't know if the design of the game is to just grind out the small enemies to level up to get your abilities. Because it's not like a Souls where you're like picking health points, strength points, choosing different builds. You have your staff and then you have skill trees. You have movies you can unlock. But it's no like actual class creation or anything like that. Yeah, Jared.
Did you ever play the Ninja Gaiden series? Is it like that? Kind of like
I played one on 360. I don't remember it very well. It reminds me more of like it's like if Souls had a baby with Devil May Cry. But then like
Devil May Cry. That's what it reminds me of.
But then the bosses are really hard. And so I was telling Thomas, I was like, I could like grind and stuff, but I'm probably honestly, because it has difficulty, I'm probably just going to drop the difficulty just to play and experience it. Because like I love the mythology. Like the opening sequence is so cool. And like Chinese mythology is wild and it's always so fascinating to me. And like it's so creative and different. And like I'm very excited this game came out because it's like you get to learn about all this stuff you don't normally see in like pop culture and stuff. It's super exciting.
So I told Michael, like the first time I ever got introduced to the Song Wukong Monkey King thing was when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I
It's
was
called
with my-
Dragon Ball.
No, actually, no. I was with my Walita, and she liked watching kung fu movies on Telemundo, and she had that whole Into the West like trilogy on Telemundo, and she's like, "Oh, just watch this. The monkey guy fights the gods." I'm like, "I don't understand what they're saying, Grandma." So, because it was a Chinese movie that was dubbed in Spanish, so it was like El Son Wukong.
Yeah, so that's pretty much been what I've heard from a lot of people. They're enjoying it. IGN give it an 8. So remember that, because we're going to talk about IGN in a little bit. Okay, so some other games came out. Some other games came out. One of these games was called Concord, and it's the body positivity shooter that's kind of like all those other hero shooters. It did not do very well.
No, it did not.
struggled to get to 100 players on Steam. Basically, if you were on computer, you could not find a match. You would have to
It's
like go
wild.
onto the PS5 servers to find a match. It was, and IGN gave it a 7. So remember that. The next game we talk about that came out, this game is called Dustborn, and it's been called one of the worst games ever released. So it's kind of this RPG, you kind of make decisions, and one of those decisions is you can get triggered and call people racist. So I don't know if you've seen the cutscene, but it's basically this cop's like talking to the main character, and the main character just goes, "You're a racist." So that was one of the options you could pick. You can also learn the power of bullying. So I always thought bullying was bad, but these people use it. You get the power to cancel people. So
What was this called?
this game is called Dustborn.
Just
And IGN gave it a 7. Everyone seems to agree that the play is not very fun. The actual combat is not very fun. And it turned out some guys did a little digging.
Oh
And
my God.
this game got funded by, I think it was Finland, I want to say, some Norwegian country. The government there funded it. And also the American government gave it some funds. So this thing was like all government backing.
Do you want me to read the analysis from PC Gamer, like the synopsis of this game?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dustborn is an alt American history road trip game that wears its politics on its sleeve. It's a game about a group of outcast, I can't say that word, it starts with a Q, and exploited workers who fight fascist cops and smash corporate drones while navigating and involving relationships.
Nice and straightforward with it.
Yep, right. Wears it on its sleeve, don't it?
Yep. So usually
stay out of our games, governments.
So yeah, usually when the government starts funding
Stay out of our games, Finland.
our projects, that's usually called propaganda, and that's kind of what Dustborn has been. So there was another release,
Oh boy.
and this one came from our old friends at Ubisoft. So this was called Star Wars Outlaws, and
That's
it was
out.
yeah, it's out.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been it hasn't been met positively by the players. IGN gave it a 7. So 3 games that bomb all got 7s from IGN. So Star Wars Outlaws has been plagued by bugs. One so bad that they had to patch it, and the people who paid for that $130 edition game, they had to reset their game. They had to start it all over. So all the progress was lost. Ubisoft's like, "Oh, we'll give you some loyalty points or
Ubi
something
bucks?
like that." Yeah, it's like,
Oh well,
what?
thanks.
The graphics have been kind of dragged. Let's see if I can't even. Where's my share button? So yeah, so some of the graphics I was watching, it looks kind of like PS2
Oh my.
stuff. So this is the thing that's been going around. So on the left you have the character model, and on the right you get the actual character in the game. And it's just been this kind of pattern that it's not translating great anymore on these modern games. I saw a great one, and I can't find it, but there's another one. So there's like from Andromeda, and the one they
Dude,
got
the
to play
Mary Jane one. Oh my
Jane, and
God.
it's like what the heck? The one from Fable, you see her character model, and then
Oh my
her.
god.
It's just like what is going on? Um, yeah. So, and then I've watched Mahler was actually playing in the stealth. It's funny, Ubisoft, they made their name on Assassin's Creed, right? Which is stealth games. The stealth mechanic in this game has been terrible. I've been watching. Players will like do like a stealth move to knock someone out. But then for some reason, the character like drags them across the screen and everyone like sees and starts shooting. It's just like, how did you get stealth wrong?
I'm sorry. I just remember seeing that gameplay footage, and it's like her sliding, but it's like
Oh yeah.
it's like a 4-second slide of
There was
and like,
also
and like auto tracking to cover.
there's also this clip where like there's all these bad guys around, and the guy that was playing just like hides in a bush, and they're just like shooting around, and they can't find her. It was crazy. So what we learned was there's some bad, not so great games released, and a lot of sevens given out by IGN. So if you see a 7, that might not mean it's very good. Or
From what I've seen from like videos and stuff, because like I think his name's called Nakey Jakey. Yes, I know, Michael.
Yeah,
Like basically, in the reason why IGN gives out 7s is they don't want to piss off a certain developer, and so they literally give it the middle of the road. Not 5 because 5 is bad, not 8 because 8 leans toward being good.
Mhm.
They literally give it a 7 when they don't want to piss somebody off. It is like a 7 means like, oh,
It's code. We've learned the IGN code.
pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, it's because they don't want to lose their access. They don't want to lose their early copies of the game. So they got to kind of make up their own ratings for it. So that has been the gaming world for the past week.
The secret gaming menu. So
The secret code to IGN. Yeah, so that's all I got for the news. You guys got any more news you heard or anything?
I was talking to Michael, I think, about this. The founder of Telegram got arrested in France.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Morning Somewhere from Bernie Burns, the founder of Rooster Teeth. I was telling Michael, I'm like, I was okay with it until he started talking about that, because he was talking about, I'm really glad that the government picked this guy up because, a lot of things were happening on this platform that he created, that he's responsible for. And I was like, Michael, a lot of things happened with Rooster Teeth that some stuff went down between the creators and the fans. Now, it's not people like a lot of people in Rooster Teeth weren't directly involved, but because Rooster Teeth was a thing, they had access to people. So I'm like, if you're going to go down that road, just be very careful. So yeah, that was a little hypocritical on that. And I like Bernie most of the time, but I was like, might want to stay out of that, dude. So kind of creepy. So.
Creepy. All right, so that was the news. Now we go to homework. So who did what this time besides being sick in jury duty?
do you want to talk about it?
I'm more curious about how the hell you watch Terminator without a Netflix account.
You have an interesting week. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Joseph, I think you've had more going on.
Dude, this was the most New Mexican trial that there ever was. This was. Can you guess the charges?
Like a thousand things just went through my head.
Drug charges.
I'm about to say drug charges.
It was about math.
Oh, okay. So
Breaking Bad.
real drug. I thought it was like maybe peyote or something, but nope. Okay, we're
Yeah.
going
And
straight to
speaking
meth.
of Breaking Bad, the stenographer was the actual stenographer they used on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So she's not an actor; she was a real stenographer.
Man, the only time I've had jury duty, it was like a old lady backed into a guy in a parking lot, and that was it. It's like that's not
more-
exciting at all.
That's more exciting than mine because mine was a guy got drunk at a bar and didn't want to pay his bar tab. And then he hired a lawyer to go through all this stuff. And like even like in the it was like a 6-panel or 6-person jury too. It wasn't 12. But we all kind of like looked around. We're like, why the hell are we here? Like this is
That was literally
so stupid.
when we went to the back room. We all sat down. We're like, does anyone
Does
disagree
anybody
with
have
this?
any
Everyone was
disagree
like,
with this? That's
You should-
exactly,
they're like, all right,
exactly
guess
what
we're
we
done.
It was
did.
so fast, dude. The liberation was so fast.
You should have spiced it up. I think there's more at play here, guys.
I think
You're
the
gonna be-
moon had play here.
You're going to be Henry Fonda and be like, nope, need to have one person disagree for 9 hours.
They were like, well, usually the jury waits for lunch so they can get because they'll buy you lunch. So, but you guys, everyone
They brought
wanted
us
to go home.
donuts, so
I didn't even get that. I got free coffee in the lobby, and that was about it.
Yeah, donuts. Jury selection. I was like, okay, I'll go. It'll probably be like an hour. I'll go home and sleep because I was
they
sick.
still make you physically go there.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
was. It went till 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Dang.
Oh,
Like,
I got deferred because I was in school. That was easy.
I tried. They were like, does anyone have any conflicting things? I was like, I was hit by a car when I was 9. I got a thing against cars.
Conflict of
They're
interest.
They're like, you're coming in. I was like, dang it.
Guilty. Guilty.
I can't be impartial. I got hit by a car.
I'm too close to the situation, sir.
No, don't back up.
Oh man. Yeah, jury duty, huh?
Yeah, that's what I had. So
I think I
So-
only watched one thing, apart from playing Black Myth. So I guess I can knock it out of the way. Were you gonna say something, Thomas?
Mm-mm.
I heard the. But anyway, the only thing I watched actually was this afternoon. My dad texted me. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see this movie called Reagan with Dennis Quaid." He's like, "You want
Oh.
to go?" And I was like, "Never heard of it. Sure, I'm out the door. Let's go." Bye, Jared.
Jared doesn't like Reagan. He doesn't like
How
trickle
dare
down.
you.
Doesn't like trickle down economics.
All right.
So we went this afternoon. It was like I said, I didn't watch further, didn't know anything about it. It was basically a story told by a old KGB spy who was played by John Voight, who was telling the story of him spying, basically looking at Reagan before he was still an actor and everything. And he was talking about how he went back into his past trying to see, because he was like, this guy is gonna be trouble for, at the time, his comrades and all that stuff with the Soviets and everything. And so basically it's basically like a biography told from his perspective about Reagan, but then it goes through just kind of Reagan's whole life. It was I say it was really good in the sense of there was a lot I didn't know. There was a lot going through the story that I feel like the beats were really well done, but the actual interspliced, like getting to conflicts was so minimized. I was like, this should have been a series for sure. Cause like, for instance, whenever he first doesn't get elected, and then it goes to a point where I can't remember, he was like doing something on his ranch, something like that. And then he goes inside and he talks to his wife and she's like, you know, you're not going to be happy. He's like, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to run again. It's like, that's how fast the sequence was between it, because they're trying to fill so much. They basically go from when he was a kid all the way until he kind of his last speech is about getting Alzheimer's and everything like that. But still, it was a really, you can tell it's a lower budget thing, obviously, because, you know, no one with a high budget's going to make this movie or allowed to be made with what it's talking about. There's God
Yeah.
throughout this whole thing, and like
Hollywood
actual stories.
Does
and
not
everything.
like Reagan at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I went on Letterboxd. It was like, yeah, this is a 3.5 star for me, but because, you know, the actual quality there isn't quite all the way where I would want it, or the pacing, but and it's just like so many people, like I looked at the 1-star comments, just curious, and it's just like, I hated this scene where they were just making up scenes about like him like jumping to the moon or something like that. I was like, what are we talking about? Why are you even bothering reviewing this movie? I don't know. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
So did they bring up about some of the parts where he was head of the Screen Actors Guild, and
Yes.
or is it president? Okay,
He's
Yeah.
president.
he's like outing communists.
I mean, yeah, it was like, I mean, this is from the people like, John Voight, who's super conservative, all like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
it has that like tone of like those kind of Christian movies where like they're blatantly talking about Christ and God and all that stuff and everything. So it's very much on that side of it of like,
that's
no
always been my
holds
favorite
barred.
argument for those people. It's like, did you know he was outing communists? I'm like, did you know there were communists in the like actual like Soviet communists?
No, but
I
yeah,
know. I was watching, rewatching Oppenheimer, and there's like, were there commies in it? It's like, yes,
Yes.
in the science community.
As a matter of fact, there were.
that's a time I definitely don't know a lot about, and I would
Oh, that's
like,
crazy.
I would like to go and
50s
like
and
learn a lot
60s?
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nuts. Early 60s, late 50s is crazy. Like it's amazing we didn't all die.
Yeah,
They
it is.
definitely get to that point where they go through all of his story and everything and dealing with all that conflict, everything like it. His that one, I guess, I don't know how accurate the movie is. I assume it's more accurate than not because it's not Hollywood doing it. But
From what I've heard, it's pretty accurate. It's also been like a passion project of Dennis Quaid for like a long
Yeah,
time.
interesting. He did a great job. Like at first I was like,
Yeah,
man, he's like,
That's what I've
It's a
heard. I've
facial
heard he's
expression,
great in
everything, right?
it.
He just-
Yeah.
I just think the actual direction and some of the writing of side characters, they don't play off well. Like I said, they're trying to speed everything up, and also just it's very
Yeah, they
blandly
cover
shot.
a lot.
Yeah.
They cover everything, and it's pretty blandly shot. Like there's a few cool transitions or everything, but everything else is just like, I'm gonna be here with the camera, we're gonna be there. So it's very more documentary, not like a documentary, but it's not stylized in a sense, so it doesn't really speak to you in a sense of like artisticness
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
Which I would like it to be like some sort of like 10-part series that was
Yeah,
really
like the
delved
John
into.
Adams series. I
Something
think would
really
be kind of
cool.
cool.
But
How
it
did
was really
they
good.
like? How did they like make him look younger or something? Did they
Dude,
do it?
it's
CGI.
that's the best I've seen, which doesn't make sense
Really?
because this has to be lower budget, but it is astounding.
I watched an interview with John Voight, and he's like, "We shot this movie 4 years ago,
Really?
and
Oh yeah.
it's taken them that long because it kept getting delayed. But they're like, we cannot skip on the CGI.
Yeah.
Like it has to look good." And from what I've heard, it looks great.
It looks amazing. Like the actress that plays his wife and everything, like they DH her, they DH John Voight, they DH obviously Dennis Quaid, and it's just like, I mean, you could see a little bit in the eyes where it's not quite as like flush of going in detail wise, but like apart from that, like this is way better than Alien that we saw for sure with Ian Holm.
Oh
It's
yeah.
way
Ian
better
Holm.
than Star Wars ever did for sure. Like it looks really good, and they're like continuously acting. Of course, there's also a trailer for the new Tom Hanks movie from the guy that did Castaway and all that, and they show him younger, and like you can tell technology's taken a big leap since those movies I just mentioned.
Oh yeah,
But for a lower budget film, or I don't know what the budget was on this, but for a less
Not
known
big.
film, we'll say, very, very, very impressed on the de-aging. It was wild. Because at first I was like, there's no way that's makeup. They look completely young. Yeah, I don't know. It was very, very well done. But yeah, I think that's all I did. Ain't got nothing. So I didn't realize there were 7 seasons of 30 Rock. So I'm on the end of season 4.
ooh,
So getting there.
Never gonna
Sounds like
finish
a-
that.
it's a lot of snark.
A lot of it. There's been some really funny bits, but there was a bit I was watching today. It's just like we were talking about with Tracy Jones. I'm like, there are times I don't know who wrote your bit there, but that was the dumbest bit I've ever seen in my life. He said, "Oh, he's like, don't talk to me." He's like, "I'll give you the back of my hand," and he has a sticky note on the back of his hand that says, "Please don't speak to me that way" or something like that. And I was like, "It's like, are we supposed to laugh at that? Is that
That's-
supposed to be?" Funny?
I'm sorry. That's what I kind of tune out with 30 Rock. Is that it's definitely a writer show and a writer prompt show.
It's a Saturday Night Live show.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, someone literally like they have the bowl of sticky notes
Yeah.
and like pull one out. All right, write a scene around this one gag. And
yeah, it's just
that's the biggest thing I have for 30 Rock. I'm like, I can't really take 7 seasons of that.
But,
So
but the overarching stories are fun. Like right now, Alec Baldwin is trying to decide between 2 women, and the woman who plays his mother is like my favorite older strict lady ever. Like if there was ever if I can't think of who played McGonagall right now because my brain's broken. But if she didn't play McGonagall, this woman should have played McGonagall because she just has that perfect stern.
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith, thank you. But like, and so she comes into this episode that I watched today, and she was talking about she's like, Jackie, you got to make a choice. She's like screaming at him. She ends up basically like outing him to the women he's seeing separately, trying to decide which one he wants to be with. Because she's like, they both give me things, and I don't know which one I want to be with. It's just like, it's super. I don't know, it's very funny, but yeah, I think that's before next time I'm going to catch up on My Hero. My brain just every time I am gonna watch it, either Alex is around, so I can't because spoilers, or something else is going on, or we have a freaking Rings of Power to watch.
Dude, stuff was happening, bro.
Was it happening?
Happening.
I'm excited for it,
Dang
but
it.
I'm gonna get it for next time. I'll
So far behind.
Me too.
yeah, so we can just Jared, you're on the. How did your camera's over there now? We go down to Thomas. Thomas, you go next.
Okay, I'm going next. Let's see. So, school started, so I've been kind of my brain's not really focusing on anything. So I watched a lot of crap on YouTube. Nothing really stuck. So I'm not going to mention a lot. So just my regulars, I guess, watch the Unsubscribed podcast. Really, really funny, super offensive, but pretty hilarious. Talking about Disney. So Eli Double Fat has a child with what do you call it? Autism.
Oh.
And well, they did like an autism charity, that kind of stuff. They're very like accepting of it. But he went to Disney. What's the one in Florida? Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World.
They went to Florida, and apparently, if you're disabled like that, you can get basically a fast pass where you can go to the front of the line. But you have to go in for like a weird interview, and it's really awkward because they have like a doctor evaluate your child and go like, yeah, no, he has autism. You can get a fast pass. And it's a very odd process. But like while he was standing in line, he was sitting there with like a woman and her child, and her child is obviously not autistic. He's like, she was like Reddit autistic or YouTube autistic, where you just say you're autistic, and it's like, oh my God. And he was talking to like the Disney doctor, and she's like, or he was just like, do people fake having autism? And she's like, yeah, they do.
All the time.
He was just like, he's like, honestly, like if my son, because apparently his son's really smart, but he's extremely socially inept. He's like, he came up with like a YouTube like channel idea of basically having stolen valor, but for autism, and just like exposing people on the internet for having autism. He's just like, that would be the coolest show, but we could never show a single episode. He's like,
he's just like undercover at like house parties.
He does like this great impression of his son, because his son has like a hand tick. He goes like this when he's talking. He's like, he's faking, daddy, kill him. So it's just it was like it got even worse, and I can't say a lot of the stuff on YouTube or like on YouTube because I had to watch it on Pepperbox. And
I think it's like Pepperbox.
It's GunTubers got their own version of YouTube, basically.
Oh, like Rumble or something.
Yeah, but it's actually, the UI is actually really, really good. I was super impressed with it. But a Pepperbox is like an old school gun, so it has like the multi barrels, and you would set off each one individually. Yeah. That's what a Pepperbox is. But they do that because YouTube's weird about gun laws or just guns in general, and so they're like, screw it, we'll make our own like streaming service, and it's done really well. I like it. Grantham had a really cool video about the M590 Mossberg, which I have a really big appreciation for that shotgun because of reasons that I don't want to show on YouTube. But anyway,
involve owls.
Yes, owls. Lots of owls. It's kind of cool. It's literally like one of the cheapest shotguns that you can get. He's like, is this great? No. Will it ever break? Nope. You can literally always rely on it. It's pretty awesome. Then I watched a bunch of Bricky's Warhammer 40K lore videos. He just does a bunch of like factions and stuff like that. And I watched one about the Primarchs. I always love watching like just like the history of a lot of the Primarchs. I think my favorite are either the Space Wolves or maybe the Ultramarines. Ultramarines are kind of basic, but I always like those.
Space
and you got the new. Oh yes, that's how they started out. It was 20 space babies. They're flung into the universe, and then
Doctor Who.
yeah, and then they were cosplaying Michael, and then
Oh man.
so and then I've been watching stuff while I've been studying and like doing stuff, and I was watching King of the Hill. I even talked to Jared a bit about it. It's just a great show, and it's one of the shows I just kind of put on. I can just like kind of check my brain and just focus on something because I've seen so many episodes, and I think
we got a review when it comes back. We got at least the first episode.
I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I know, I don't either.
Brittany Murphy died, and she's Luann, and then the guy that played Dale is dead. So I'm like,
what are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do? And I watched the one where Luann's voting for the first time, and she's like, I can't decide. I'm gonna go with the communists.
Yeah.
And like Luann puts like that communist sign up in the lawn, and then all four of the guys like, boo, boo.
They hide out in Mexico.
And when he goes to shake George Bush's hand, it was limp.
It was limp.
Then he's like rewinding that tape. Full of hope, disappointed. Full of hope, disappointed. So, yeah,
we definitely got to review the first episode at least. Even Michael, we'll make Michael watch it too.
Michael, have you ever watched any of King of the Hill?
I've seen episodes, but like never sat down and watched through it.
I rewatched the Peggy skydiving episode, which is so good.
Cotton Hill.
Cotton Hill. I kill Fitterman. Like, Peggy, my father might tell some yarns, but he has no shins. But somehow he walks.
They took his shins.
All right, well, that's all I got, Jared.
All right. Just real fast with anime, I started a couple new ones. There's one called Too Many Losing Heroines, and this is about all the ladies that got dumped by the main dude. So they're like the childhood friends, but you know how the dude goes with the new chick, and this is all about them. And
They never do go with the childhood friend, do they?
Sometimes.
Usually they do, and you're like, oh, she's terrible for him, but she's the childhood friend, and you're like
Orihime.
She's got bread.
Oh, she's got something.
Cake. So, and then there's another one that came out that was pretty highly recommended called The Elusive Samurai. So it's about the Hojo clan, which is really cool because they were the ones who originally did the Triforce. It's the 3 dragon scale symbol. So it's about them. It's one of their, I guess, one of their lords and stuff like that. It looks really good. The first episode was a little like disappointing, but I'll keep going. I just like that it deals with the Hojo clan. And then I did a lot of music stuff. I listened to Deftones' 4th album, which is their self-titled album. Not good. I'm getting really tired of this journey, but I might take a break. And then they had a covers album. Awful, god awful. They're terrible at covers. I was like, this is trash. And then I went through all of Tool's discography because I know a lot about their stuff. I've never gone through each album like all the way through. Yes.
Did you go through all of them like all at once, or did you have breaks of other stuff?
Kind of all at once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it gets a lot.
I'm surprised you're not glowing with a third eye right now.
I didn't know I owned 10,000 Days. I looked at my shelf with my CDs. I was like, I own this?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
You brought that at Forever Young Records. Because
I was looking for.
I bought it too.
I was looking for Undertow because I knew I owned that, and then I was like, "What the? Where did this come from?"
Wait, did you get the one with the The 3D glasses one or no?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, not we bought that one.
Mhm.
Why does an album have 3D glasses?
The
Guys, you
art,
gotta open your mind's eye.
gotta open the art and look at it. and you
Michael,
have
look
3D
at those
glasses.
chakras.
I'm sure imagine Dragons have
playing-
one like that.
You're playing Black Song Wukong. You should open up your chakras.
Yeah, sure, but not with paper children's glasses.
That's how you do it.
children's glasses. Everyone
Like in
used
3D
them.
was a spiritual experience, you're telling me?
He was the guy. So I went chronologically. So I started with Undertow, probably my favorite. It's got my favorite one, which is Prison Sex, which is a silly. It's a weird name, but
That's not the weirdest name,
no,
Michael.
No, it's not. But it deals with a lot of heavy topics, and it's just a really good song. It's also got like Sober and stuff like that. It's got that
Henry Rollins
cameo by Henry Rollins. That's really good.
Yeah, so good.
So really like that. Then I got to Enema, and I was like, this took a dip. It's got some cool songs. It's got Stinkfist and then 46 and 2.
I really like that song.
It also has the German title, Die something von Satan. I didn't know it was just a sugar cookie recipe, just said in German.
In German?
Yeah, I was like, whoa. It's a good song too. I was like, because when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, this is dark. It's about Satan. And then I found that out. I was like, oh, even better.
Sugar cookies.
Sugar cookies.
But as a whole, I think this is my least favorite album. Oh no, it's not. We'll
I was gonna say, like, I have one that I think you might have.
Yeah, we'll come to that one. Then Lateralis, which the fans are like, oh, this is Pete. This opened my mind.
That opened your chakra, yeah.
It's really good. There's the Holy Triad song in this, which is like what is it? Disposition, reflection, and triad, which you're supposed to listen to all the way through, and you're supposed to get like that's what's gonna open the mind's eye.
It's like 30 minutes, Michael.
But really good album. This is when I was like, man, everything is just this is heavy. Everything is just like not like heavy like in like genre, but just like this is a lot of like spiritual crap that I'm having to listen to, but I'm still going strong. So I got to 10,000 Days. I like this one a lot too. It's got the pod, of course, Jambi, which is really good. But yeah, that one was good.
Dude, the 10,000 Days for Marie and that one, I love that one so much. Like
now we come to the worst one. The most recent one, the Fear Inoculum. Yeah. There's like one good song, and so they took like a 8-year hiatus because they didn't want to put out.
I think it was 9, wasn't it?
8 or 9.
Yeah, like almost a decade.
They didn't want to put out something inferior to the other albums. They wanted to really come back strong. But the old albums have a ton of filler. So I was like, what are you worried about? Like
10,000 Days has a lot of filler.
Yeah, in Enema, they have one where he squeezes his cat and then they pitch shift it down. And that was one of the tracks. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Like 10,000 Days has like that random dude chanting that's not even in the band.
One has like a phone call message. I was like, you guys, you're too much.
You were just too busy, be honest.
Yeah.
Michael likes the phone call in the middle of the song.
No, I hate the phone call.
But this album, it literally has like 5 or 6 15-minute songs. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And they love 5 minutes of like barely music, like just really coming in very slow. And I was like, God, dude, just get to it. But
that Fear Inoculum is their longest album, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they're super good. They have amazing songs, but as a whole, the albums, God, dude, it's so much work. It is so much work to listen through them.
So if you like you're talking about like the trilogy song in Lateralis, right? So another trilogy that I recommend you listen to in order is Judith from Perfect Circle, and then do 10,000 Days and then Wings for Marie. That's basically the story of him coming to grips with his mom's faith and what do you call it? His lack of, I guess, would be a good way to say it. And
There's
then accepting it.
another like secret track on 10,000 Days where you have to listen to 2 songs at the same time
Mhm.
and then listen to the last song. And I was like, that's too much work.
There's a lot involved in listening to Tool, Michael.
And then I watched this YouTube video. I don't have it pulled up. I'm sorry about saying your name and giving you credit, but it was like an Iceberg 4 Tool. And I didn't know the main singer of Tool was in Rage Against the Machine in one of their songs. So I gave that a listen to. That is a great song. I was like, holy crap, this is really good.
Which one?
Know Your Enemy. So it was really good. They're like cameoed in a bunch of songs, so I was giving those a shot. And then as far as YouTube, there's only one new YouTuber that I started watching called Greg Bro Dude Man. He pretty much just watches
that's a great name.
It is a great name, Michael. And then he just watches like scary videos, and he's like easily scared, so he's like freaking out the whole time. And then Nexpo had a new video, and Nick Crowley had a new video about the same topic.
Mr. Crowley.
And this
fascist bootlicker.
And this was genuinely creepy. It's about this dude in England. He has like 4 Instagram accounts, posing as a child.
Posing as a child?
Yeah, he dresses up as a schoolboy. He thinks he's like 13 years old. He's like obviously attracted to kids. It's just a really creepy dude. Like, these videos were super disturbing. They're both really good. Whenever Nexpo has a video, they're always really well made and stuff. But
I hope he never goes political. I swear to God. Like, just be creepy. Just do it. Just stay there. Just stay
It'd
there.
be good for our views if you guys do
Sure.
another one like that.
If he self implodes like in Praise of Shadows.
That's really the only thing. Except for I wanted to ask if you guys watched Mahler play Star Wars Bounty Hunter, the remake or whatever, the remaster.
Oh,
No.
He's just killing everyone. He's not even. You know how you have to like look for bounties and like you don't want to get caught. He's just killing everyone.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's what
When
I
you
did
go
that
into a
game.
new area, you have to put on the little goggle and you have to search.
yeah,
He's like, these guys don't have a bounty.
yeah. I was like, man, dude.
Bring him in warm or bring him in cold. They're all coming in cold.
And that's all for me. Oh, I have one last thing. I had to call out Joseph and Thomas. I don't know. Michael doesn't really do it much, but when someone leaves the show, don't talk about them leaving. Continue the show.
Thomas does it every time. I'm sorry.
There's
did
a couple
today.
episodes
What?
I was watching where, like, if the screen goes to just our names, you know how we like when we
We
need
just-
to walk away.
We just did that to you.
It
Jimmy.
throws Thomas off. You shock
I know.
him.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about a show.
Do not stop the YouTube show.
This
and
train
talk
keeps
about it.
going, man.
To be fair, it was a funny joke this time when you left because Michael started
Okay.
talking about Reagan and we're like, oh,
Oh, okay.
Reagan fan.
Like, oh, Jared didn't like Reagan.
That I'll allow that one.
Yeah.
Oh, will you now?
Yes.
All right.
Committed.
I'll finish with, like I said, I was sick,
Meth.
so I watched a lot of those King of the Hill videos. Yes, meth. But there's one where Bobby accidentally makes meth at a science fair, so that's one. But when I wasn't watching this, I did watch a couple movies, and I was like, man, I'm sick. I just want to watch movies where people talk, and that's pretty much it. I don't want like any action or anything like that.
So you're
So
okay
Watch
with Lord of the Rings?
No, I want meaningful conversation. The first one I watched was The Remains of the Day. Anthony Hopkins, of course. This was kind of like Downton Abbey before Downton Abbey. So it's Anthony Hopkins. He's a butler, and it's kind of one of those stories about, dang, we should have got together, but we never did. Um, and he works for kind of this Nazi sympathizer, so he's got great like embarrassment about that. So whenever anyone asks, like, "Hey, didn't you work for that guy?" He's like, "No, I work for this American dude." Christopher Reeves is in it. I haven't seen many Christopher Reeves movie where he's not Superman. So
Was this pre or
Yeah.
post?
pre.
Okay.
Because he reminds me a lot of Henry Cavill. Actually, he was a big dude.
Yeah, he's huge.
So yeah, he was pretty good. He doesn't have a big part, but he's pretty good in it.
I always like those pictures of him and Robin Williams. It made me laugh because Christopher Reeves is like here and Robin's like down here.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Anthony Hopkins. He's one of the best actors we have. So it's fun to watch one of his movies. The next movie I watched was called Genius. This was one for Michael. So this is about Thomas Wolfe, the writer, and his editor. So the relationship between them. And he's like, so he's this guy that hasn't been published. And Colin Firth is the editor, and he gives him a chance. And he's like, I want to publish you, but we got to delete like 300 pages of this book. And he's like, and Thomas Wolfe was this very Southern dramatic guy. So he's like, oh, it hurts to delete all these pages. And he gives these big old speeches.
The agony.
So the next book he brings in, it's like he's got like wagons, and they're like bringing in all this. They got to cut down 5,000 5,000 pages, and he's like, Colin First characters. I was like, all right, we can do this. It's going to take us 9 months of nonstop work, but we can do this.
What the heck?
And then the end is very much about like, oh man, you cut out so much of my stuff. Is it really my book? I need to go out on my own to figure out if I'm a really good writer, or is it just your editing?
I'm sorry, but you wrote 5,000 pages. I think you can write, man.
I don't understand you writers. I don't know how you do it. It's just so. I write like 2 lines and I'm like, I don't know. I'm done. This is going nowhere.
I got the idea on paper. I am done.
So yeah, I actually really liked the movie. It was interesting. Next movie I watched was it's based on a book. It was called Ice Storm.
Oh, the Ang Lee movie?
Ang Lee. Tons of young actors: Tobey Maguire, Elijah Wood, Christina Ricci, that kid that plays Bernard the elf, the kid that plays
everywhere.
that kid that plays young Robin Williams in Jumanji's in it. I think there's Katie Holmes is in it. So the story, there's an adult story about the adults, and then there's a story about the kids. The adult story is basically, back in the day where they thought affairs was like the pinnacle of storytelling. So that's kind of boring. The adult stuff's kind of boring because it's like we kind of moved on beyond affairs being great.
Galadriel and Sauron.
Oh man. So the kid stuff's more interesting. They're doing the like coming of age stuff. Christina Ricci's character is like wants to lose her virginity. She's into these 2 brothers. It's Elijah Wood and the other kid, and she's like more attracted to the younger one because he's like super innocent, and she's like attracted to that innocence.
What is this filth?
It's I'm not done with the filth yet. So here we go. Tobey Maguire, he's like the older kid. He's going off for high school. He kind of nerdy, reading Fantastic Four on the train. He's really into Katie Holmes, but she thinks of him more as a brother. He goes to
Happens.
Yeah,
he thinks he's gonna hook up with her, but Bernard the elf is there, and he's all disappointed. So he drugs Bernard the elf.
Oh my god!
Just to get him to go to sleep. And then Katie Holmes is like, "Hey, give me some of those pills," and he's like, "No," but she takes them, and so she's falling asleep, and his whole night is ruined. Elijah Wood is running around in the sub-zero ice storm. he thinks it's really cool because there's like no germs when there's ice. Um, and he's like bouncing on diving boards and he's sliding down the road on his butt and he's having a great time. And then he sees a down power line and he's like all mesmerized it. He sits on like the metal railing car, where the cars drive. He sits on that, and then the power line falls on that, and he gets electrocuted and dies. And that is the movie The Ice Storm. So it's definitely of its time period. And then the next movie I watched was the rare 10 out of 10 for me. So this was called, So this is called, this was the indie classic, Stranger Than Paradise. So this movie is great. So all the actors in it are musicians. So they're not like trained actors. It's in black and white. There's no cuts in the movie. So it's a scene and then go fade to black and then next scene, right? So I really like that because I think we have too much cuts nowadays. So it's nice to see just like long takes.
You don't like seeing Liam Neeson going over a fence, Joseph?
There's a time and a place for cuts, but it's not in drama. It's a comedy. It doesn't really have much of a plot. It's this cousin. His cousin comes and stays with him for like 2 weeks. He thinks she's kind of annoying. She's from like Romania or something like that. And she leaves, goes to Ohio. And then him and his friend are talking. And he's like, hey, we made all this money. It's sad because they're like card sharks, so they make money gambling. And they're like, we got all this money. He's like, yeah, we got $600. We have so much money. And I'm like, this is sad. Nowadays, this is pretty sad. So they go to Ohio to visit her, and they're like, Ohio kind of sucks. It's cold here, and there's like nothing to do. Let's go to Florida. So they go to Florida. They gamble. They kind of lose all their money, and then they all get separated, and the movie ends. And that was Stranger Than Paradise, and I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. It somehow predicted the hipster movie because this was made in 1984. And from all I could like figure out, hipsters came around in the 90s, which kind of makes sense because like in Seinfeld, they call Kramer a hipster. So this was like way before that. So I don't know. Maybe
High Fidelity have a lot to do with hipsters too.
Yeah. It's kind of the Jack Black character is kind of a hipster. So that was 90s too. So this one was like way before that. I don't know. I mean, they had hipsters like the original hipsters that were just like zoot suit guys, and but it's not kind of the same thing. But yeah, so that was cool. Check that out if you're into indie movies. But that is all I did. So you guys got any last words for
what are we doing next week?
We are gonna check out Beetlejuice.
It's September. That's crazy.
In September. Dude, we're almost to Christmas. I'm excited.
I'm going to be in Japan in 3 months.
In December, right?
Mm-hmm. I come back on Christmas.
Oh, hey.
What a gift. What a gift to us.
I'm just coming back like, hi.
It comes in a big
also
bow.
get your souvenir list to me at some point, and I'll come back and
I want you to buy me gifts you think I would like based on our years of friendship.
I can't bring back a maid from the maid cafe.
Then why are you going?
I'm going to experience it. You should come with me.
Did you hear that story where they're giving out visas to go have babies in Japan?
Yeah.
The bananas?
Because they need babies, man.
Papa Meat did like a video on Passport Bros. No, what I was thinking we could do though is that I can get a bunch of Japanese snacks and we could record us doing
trying them.
Yeah, trying them. Would you want me to try to do something like that?
That'd be cool, yeah. So find some unique snacks.
I was thinking about some Kit Kats, just the different kinds, because they got like 1 billion of them over there. So
the candy bar?
Yeah. They have like the mochi.
The Japanese are obsessed with Kit Kat.
Oh, matcha tea and mochi.
Because it's like a nickname for Kitakatsu or something like that. And so they're kind of obsessed with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll get.
breeding visas, so you can get your breeding visa and have some babies.
Where do you sign up for this? Where do you?
You can just go. You don't have to have a visa anymore. Also, get me your list for what you want to have you try to find, and then 2, get me your snack list. So I can find some stuff. Ooh.
It's going to be some weird foods.
This is
Thomas.
called whale ramen. You want to try?
Thomas, this is called cheese.
No.
Big cheese wave is hitting Japan right now. They're all about the cheeses.
That's one thing I did learn in college. I did a personal nutrition class. I did find that I was severely lacking in calcium because I don't eat dairy and I don't eat cheese. I was like, I should probably
Your
take some
bones
supplements.
are
I should
brittle, Thomas.
probably take some supplements for that.
No wonder your ankle was hurt the other day.
I know. Well, that's what happened. Was I
See,
probably
when you eat cheese, you
Glass
just
bones.
I was probably calcium deficient. Yeah, and hurt my ankle. So
My uncle.
My
uncle,
you-
my uncle.
Are you any like lactose intolerant from not eating dairy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as severely as you are, but I when I drink a milkshake, it does upset my tum tum. So
There's earthquakes.
also, pizza gives me like a lot of bloat. Like,
That's just pizza.
well, I
Yeah.
know, but
I don't
Pizza's
bloat
great.
with pizza. I bloat
Really?
with like fried rice or rice, and just
Weird.
like when we go to like Ohana or something like that, I feel miserable. I'm like,
That's why you
feel
just
like,
eat the veggies.
yeah.
so I always hated going to the pizza parlor and then having to go to work. I basically ate pizza, then I had to go to work. And I'm like, "Brr,
No,
I can work out after pizza, but like, dude,
Oh,
rice,
God.
I
I'm like,
can't, man.
I can't.
I can't even go for a walk after.
Yeah,
pizza.
same. I cannot. I am dead after I eat pizza. Can't move. That's why we did it for Lord of the Rings. I couldn't move.
Man,
trapped.
Glued them there. Rings of power. Good old rings of power.
Mm.
Can't wait till season 3. That's when they say new stuff will happen.
Oh, look, something's gonna happen.
All right. So that's going to do it for this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff. And we will see you next time. Bye.